Malaysian couple finds new meaning in life by volunteering and comes to Taiwan to be certified. A mother in Indonesia launches a charity foundation to look after children with cancer in memories of her son. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Maggie Tsai. Thank you for joining us. Volunteers Boon, Kiong and Chen will come back to Taiwan to be certified as Tzu Chi volunteers this year. Before they joined Tzu Chi, the couple used to have fights often. However, after caring for those in need, the wife has changed and improved her relationship with her husband. Now the couple volunteers together joyfully.
I work in a newspaper company, so I have to read a lot of newspapers every day. Whenever there were disaster breaking news, I always see the name of Tzu Chi as the first rescuing team printed on a paper. I was curious about the group, so I looked up on the internet and found the Kilana Haya retreat. Initially, when I joined Tzu Chi, it was just me, without any companion of friends, neighbors, or even my husband. But I felt it's the right thing to do, so I just joined them on my own.
Initially, it was my wife get involved in recycling, not me, since I felt awkward collecting garbage from my neighbors.
I was born in a poor family and lived nearby a garbage dump. We used to wait for the garbage truck to dump trash so that we could collect some glass bottles and clean them to exchange 1 or 2 cents for our pocket money. To me, garbage was not garbage. At that time, it was my pocket money.
整个 resident 每个人都可以看到的。这个整个花园。我们会放上去，连他们有那个资源啦。后来认识了。
After joining Tzu Chi, knowing recycling could help save the world, we know we are doing the right thing, no matter what other people said. In early years, when my wife and I were still young, we used to have fights, and because of my wife's bad temper, she could stop talking to me for a month.
Since I had 4 kids to take care and a busy working schedule in company's financial management, I was under a lot of stress and could get angry easily.
Hello,
From conducting home visits, I saw many unfortunate people. Therefore, I feel I'm blessed. Why get angry? What good does it do? It's not good for anyone. So after joining Tzu Chi, I live every day with a new meaning. Certification is a brand new start for us. We decided that once we return home from Taiwan, we want to do more good deeds for the society.
Although I have retired, I will keep working on recycling and care for the recipients.
In Taiwan, the year-end cultivation and certification ceremony has been held for recycling volunteers in Northern District. This year, there are 952 attendants. Among them, more than 200 volunteers are newly certified staff recycling volunteers. Many of these volunteers are seniors who found a new meaning of life at the recycling stations.
After retirement, Liao Guofu has been volunteering in Tzu Chi recycling station for 2 years. He sees himself as a public servant in the station, since he volunteers every day.
When I first came here, I know nothing about recycling. So some Tzu Chi volunteer guided me step by step. Now I became a master in recycling and enjoy doing it.
Huang Xiangyun is another similar example. Her family used to see her as a very serious person. However, after she volunteered in a recycling station, she changed herself into a kind-hearted person.
I admire Master Zheng Yan's selfless contributions. This recycling station allows us to help save the world by reducing garbage and pollution through recycling.
At the end of 2019, recycling volunteers from Northern District will be holding a certification ceremony with a total of 221 recycling volunteer attendants certified in the ceremony. A volunteer, Tzu Chi from Kiong, was once a stroke patient and had difficulties with traveling. However, she said she will attend the ceremony no matter what.
Tzu Chi once helped me a lot. If I recover, I'll reciprocate by doing recycling.
Another diligent recycling volunteer, Zhang Pengfen, shared her wish after the certification ceremony.
I wish I could keep my body working as long as I could until the day I couldn't.
The seniors taught us to make good use of our time. Now the seniors feel more confident and grounded in life through recycling.
One more volunteer brings more strength. The more volunteers joining recycling, the more efficient it will be.
Islangar of Malaysia, a Filipino single mother, lives with her daughter. Her health worsened, and after her kidney failed, she could not clean up her messy home. Tzu Chi volunteers helped her to remove unnecessary items to the recycling station, providing her with a more comfortable living environment.
Early morning, Tzu Chi volunteers showed up at Elma's home. Elma is a single mother who is also a patient with kidney disease. Due to the lack of energy, house cleaning becomes a challenge for her.
Going to 8 years. I cannot clean my house because all the time I go to work, come back so tired. So I just alone, my daughter cannot help.
Elma undergoes regular dialysis and needs a sanitary condition to rest at home.
After seeing the mess, Tzu Chi volunteers felt they shouldn't turn their back on her. Thus, they help her to clean the house.
It's a new house again. I can feel very clean, very tidy, and very the atmosphere very clean. I can breathe so easy.
It has been more than 20 years since Elma moved to Malaysia from Philippines after marriage. She raised her daughter on her own after her husband's death. When talking about the difficulties in her life, she finally burst out crying.
I feel alone.
Always around. Okay, you're not alone.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy.
Tzu Chi volunteers provide Elma financial aid and care so that she can feel some warmth in this foreign country.
In our next report, we will meet a lymphoma patient who was given a second chance at life. Liu Jingming suffered from arm pain when he was 26 years old and was diagnosed with lymphoma. In 2 years, he underwent chemotherapy many times and relapsed twice. Fortunately, he found a matching stem cell donor in Tzu Chi Stem Cell Donor Data Bank. Here's his story.
The volunteers keep reminding Tian Jiaqi to eat more vegetables. Therefore, he cannot seem to finish the food in his bowl. The volunteers also measure Tian Jiaqi's blood pressure. They want to ensure that Tian has stable blood pressure and will be able to save a patient's life.
I would not blame other people or fate. I thought about whether it was real, but I did not complain that it happened to me.
Liu Jingming was 26 years old when he experienced pain in the armpit and was diagnosed with lymphoma. In more than 2 years, he underwent chemotherapy many times and relapsed twice.
I felt helpless and uncomfortable. I wanted to cry. I wanted to cry in the hospital.
Fortunately, Liu found a matching stem cell donor Tian Jiaqi in Tzu Chi Stem Cell Donor Data Bank. Tian could relate to Liu even though he has never met him.
They have to endure the pain during the stem cell transplant. If I can give other people a second chance at life, why would not do it?
As the blood drips down through the tube, I felt that I've gained a new life.
Affinities bring people together. This is a kind of good affinities. Maybe he can help other people and pass the love forward.
It has passed. Our new beginning starts today.
Having been given a second chance at life, Liu upholds his religious beliefs. Living a down-to-earth life is his best way to show his appreciation.
Indonesian mother who lost her son to cancer has founded a Taiwan organization under her son's name to help other children fighting cancer. After 6 years operation, the Taiwan organization has provided care to more than 800 children battling with cancer and their families. The founder Yenny has shared her own experiences with the patients' families during her love for her son into strength to help other families.
Kondisi yang akhirnya
when I had to be honest and tell Taufan that he needed to go back for more treatment, he asked me why.
Mengatakan kepada Taufan gitu.
Because the doctor said more treatment is needed.
Lagi ke rumah sakit gitu. Kenapa Mami?
Back then he resisted it.
Dokter bilang harus.
He often said, "You should put yourself in my shoes."
Nah di situ dia mulai berontak. Dia selalu bilang,
try to be pricked by needles every day.
Coba deh jadi Taufan gitu, mau nggak sih ditusuk-tusuk terus gitu. Sampai akhirnya suatu hari.
Until one day his health deteriorated and he was sent to the emergency room.
Drop ada di IGD.
Back then he was already unconscious.
Pada saat itu kondisinya sudah koma. Merasakan
after going back to the hospital,
jadi sebuah
I found the strength to carry on.
Dan akhirnya memang itu saya dapatkan
after talking with the parents of children battling cancer, I had a familiar feeling.
Orang tua yang masih merawat anaknya dengan
It made me feel that Taufan has not left me.
Assalamualaikum. Hai Putra. Apa kabar? Hah? Apa kabar? Baik. Lagi ngapain? Oh, nggak ngapa-ngapain. Ini kita bawa origami sama buku sama ini bolpen.
Pada waktu itu anak saya kan
Back then, there was a lump on my child's neck. I thought he had tonsillitis. He underwent 4 months of treatment. When his health deteriorated, I took him to the doctor to undergo checkup. The doctor did CT scan on him to see if the cells have spread. The result is that he has nasopharyngeal carcinoma. The doctor said he needed to undergo chemotherapies, and I followed the doctor's advice.
Selnya namanya biopsi.
For a period of time, he could not eat anything.
Kayak orang mati.
He was just dragging on.
Ya, lihat teman-temannya pada bermain sehat.
Seeing his lively and healthy friends,
Ya Allah, mudah-mudahan berdoa.
I can only continue to pray that my child will soon recover. I can only do my best.
Ya, aku terus berusaha semampu aku deh, tenaga.
I'm grateful for Allah that he finally recovered.
Ya, akhirnya alhamdulillah bisa normal lagi. Trauma sih ada pas lihat teman-teman.
Of course, we felt traumatized.
Gitu, kayak mama.
But I saw other people, such as Taufan's mother.
Anaknya kan ada juga yang.
Although her son has died from cancer, she still actively supported other patients.
Untuk mendukung pasien-pasien yang lain.
Tzu Chi has been advocating environmental protection in Indonesia for 15 years already. There are more and more people becoming recycling volunteers at the recycling station in Banten province. Every month, more than 1,000 kilograms of recyclables are sorted into available resources like eco breaks.
Pikir aku ya seusia gini aku apa yang bisa aku kerjakan, ya yang bisa aku kerjakan ya aku kerjakan gitu.
Polewati is removing the labels on the PET bottles carefully. She met Gigi volunteers who were promoting environmental protection at a shopping mall 5 months before. She was then inspired to be a recycling volunteer.
I really admire volunteers for their contributions. No matter it is about environmental protection or other needs, they'll take action immediately, which is very positive.
These labels, which are not disposed as trash, are used to make eco bricks.
Kita sih di sini kalau emang
Put the plastic labels that cannot be recycled into PET bottles and then press tightly to form a brick. Eco bricks can be used to make tables, chairs, and decorative fences in parks.
bergabung dengan kita untuk melakukan kegiatan.
The Tzu Chi recycling station in Banten province, Indonesia, covers an area of 500 square meters. Every month, more than 1,000 kilograms of unremarkable recyclables are sorted into available resources.
Plastik-plastik yang tidak bisa.
Those volunteers contributing at the recycling stations are mostly seniors. Their children are busy working while their grandchildren also need to go to school. So I bring them to the recycling station to exercise their body and at the same time do good deeds.
Untuk hias taman.
Tzu Chi has been advocating environmental protection in Indonesia for 15 years already. Every recycling station in different communities is a place to gather people to do good deeds together.
Every year, the United Nations provides about 3.2 million tons of food aid to devastating countries. However, the amount of waste food by the EU in 1 year is as high as 88 million tons. Japan doesn't waste that much food, but annually could supply what the UN distributes for 2 years. One culprit is the fact that Japan puts 2 labels for food expiry. One is the consumed by date, and the other is actually expiration date. Other countries have labels that are similarly confusing, leading to lots of food waste around the world each year.
These buckets of leftover food are from schools and department stores in Yokohama, Japan. The contents are Italian pasta, rice, and bread, everything which was made yesterday. Their fate is like that of Cinderella at midnight. They all must be recycled. According to statistics from Japan's Ministry of the Environment from 2013 to 2016, an average of 620 metric tons per year of edible food is lost because of expiration. In 2015, the United Nations provided about 320 tons of food assistance to the world. This means that Japan's yearly surplus would be available to supply United Nations food distribution for 2 years. How can Japan, which is the 6th in the world in terms of global GDP, have so much waste? Best before and used by date are 2 things that many Japanese may be confused about.
Japan basically distinguishes between the use by date and best before date, where the quality of the product will degrade. The use by date refers to food products needing to be eaten before a particular date to ensure food safety.
The Japanese food manufacturing industry has a hidden rule. This is based on the principle of 1/3. For example, food manufacturers divide the best before date into 3 periods. The total period is 6 months, and manufacturers need to get it to the store for sale in 2 months. The product has not been sold. When it reaches 2/3 of the best before date, it must be taken off the shelf. Even if these foods are taken off the shelf, they are not, in fact, expired goods. How long can food still be eaten? Who decides this? To learn more, we step into the lab to find out.
Here we're doing a long-term test storing food at room temperature. Different specimens are taken and placed here for 3 months and 6 months. If it is confirmed to be hygienic with nutrition.
The lab will also subject food to extreme environment tests to see how well it is preserved.
This is constant temperature and humidity incubator. It operates at 40 degrees, which is higher than room temperature, and has 70% humidity. The customer's sample is placed in here to do a test.
Many think that this is a sort of torture test for food. Is this really the right thing to do? When the food is broken down and the number of cultured bacteria is measured over a certain period of time, this is a test of the sanitary environment of the factory during the time of production.
There are different international standards for different types of foods. Our own health standards are set at a particular level, and companies have to send samples. We have 4 categories: microbiological analysis, component analysis, physical and chemical analysis, and sensory evaluation to make a judgment.
Most foods are delivered by the factory for lab inspection. The laboratory does a number of checks and recommends a use-by date. However, in the case of Taiwan, for example, this date is ultimately determined by the manufacturer.
Taiwan's label is relatively simple, so it won't lead to misunderstandings regarding consumers. Some in Japan will appreciate best use-by date, and distributors and outlets will use the best before date.
Taiwan typically says a product has a shelf life of 1 to 2 years. It is usually marked with the date of manufacture. The use-by date is the last time it is still edible. The general indication is the year, month, and day. In Japan, the consume-by date is before the expiry date. While Taiwan and Japan labels can be confusing, Europe and America are even more complicated. The EU wastes about 88 million tons of food per year, or about $159 billion US, and the reasons for food waste are very complicated. In this study, the cause of food waste is confusion about the best before and use-by dates on food.
It's not just the shelf life that is determining this, but also the packaging, if it's damaged or open, or if it's completely intact. If during the shelf life period there has been any discoloration or strange smell, even mold, this food can be determined to be inedible.
Expiry dates applied to food product are merely for reference. Many recommend buying in moderation, not buying too much at once, as a way to cut down on food waste. We should all cherish food and pay attention to consume-by dates, shelf life dates, and best before dates. Eating all of these reminders is also a good way to protect our bodies from spoiled food.
Melbourne team worked with Northern Richmond Health Centre to conduct free dental clinic for local elementary school teachers and parents, as well as refugees in need. Take a look and see you next time. Goodbye.